Hello everyone and welcome to another high elo game of Age of Empires. Today we tried to recreate a New York City style pizza in our kitchen and failed miserably, but pizza is pizza and we still had a good lunch and now we're full and sitting down to watch Mr. Yo playing as the Goths in red take on Hera playing as the Saracens in blue. And while the players heard their herdables explore their immediate surroundings and try to go up to Feudal Age ASAP, let's take a look at the Civ matchup we'll be watching today. Now, the Goths are about as single-minded as a civilization can get in Age of Empires by worshipping one structure and one structure alone. I am referring to the barracks. This structure starts out the game working 20% faster, but can be upgraded to work more than 200% faster, which is great because the Goths do get 10 extra population space in Imperial, capping out at 210 supply or population room versus the standard 200. Now, all Goth infantry also get progressively cheaper throughout the game, all the way up to 35% cheaper in Imperial, and those very same Gothic infantry units do get a progressive attack bonus against buildings, which makes them quite good at taking down castles and other structures in the late game. Now, the Goth barracks itself can also be upgraded to train the unique unit of the Goths, the Huskarl. This is a decent infantry unit who reminds me very much of Liam Neeson in Taken, because it has one very important set of skills, and that set of skills is killing archers. Huskarls come with a big attack bonus against archers and base pierce armor that makes them basically immune from almost all archer fire in the game. Now, to support a big, hungry, growing population, Goth hunters are stronger, they carry more, and their hunt lasts 20% more, and Loom is researched in under a second, which means you can start the game basically almost immediately with villagers that are harder to raid and kill. Now, pivoting to the southeast, we've got Hera playing as the Saracens, a civilization whose strong market can be used to gain an early to mid-game advantage over their opponents. To start with, Saracen markets only cost 75 wood, and their commodity trading fee is fixed at 5%, which is significantly lower than the 30% that other civilizations have to pay when they trade resources earlier on in the game. Now, using this economic advantage, the Saracens can field quite a hard-hitting, tanky army. Their foot archers come with an attack bonus against buildings, which makes Saracen Feudal Age aggression pretty damn scary. Their camels also come with 25% more HP. Their trebs, their mangonels, and their onagers can all be upgraded to get a boost to their attack. And their unique unit, the Mameluke, is a ranged melee camel unit that comes with a pretty big attack bonus against cavalry. Now, if I stumbled over myself there, as sometimes happens in Age of Empires, not every game, but sometimes, your units do get injured, their HP does go down. Saracen monks can now be upgraded to automatically and passively heal units within a 5-tile radius, even when they're doing other actions. A super cool new technology that was introduced in the latest patch. Rhino comes, Rhino falls, and more meat to the Saracen meat people. Butchers, what do we want to say? Delis? I don't know what they have, where they serve up their rhino burgers that allows them to grow their population. But in any event, let's take a look at the bases while the players both sit on 17 villagers. Our Saracen researching Loom. Now, the cool thing about the Goths, not only because Loom is researched almost instantaneously, not only are their villagers potentially harder to kill right from the get-go, but the actual time it takes to research Loom is the same time it takes to train a villager. So you can, as the Goths, go up. Oh, look at that. I was right about to say one villager ahead of your opponent. By the way, did he research Loom? Okay, so he did research Loom. So that does illustrate my point. Our Goth has gone up at the basically exact same time as his opponent, but with one more villager. Hera, having researched Loom, needs 25 seconds, the same amount of time it takes to train a villager. Now, anyway, let's take a look at where the resources are. Mr. Yo's primary gold. I mean, a little bit safe behind a wood line, but I don't like any resources that are on hills, especially not a massive hill like this. There is nowhere he's going to be able to place a mining camp, I think, on the southern side. So he's going to have to place a mining camp somewhere in the north, and he's going to have to take this hill if he wants to keep that gold nice and safe. Primary stone, nice and safe in the back. Hera, by the way, already discovering where his opponent is. Mr. Yo looks like not quite yet. Hasn't really seen any telltale signs, no patches of resources, no berries, but he's heading straight for his Wait for it, opponent. There we go. He sees the rugs, he sees the villagers, he sees, actually he didn't see the town center, but sees the villagers, must know what's what. Let's take a look at Mr. Yo's forest. Not bad forest coverage, all in a nice triangle shape. Both players hitting feudal at the exact same moment. So a small little area that Mr. Yo can wall off, and Mr. Yo likes walling things off based on the games that I've seen, and so his wall off already begins. I wonder if this is closed here. May not be. Might need a palisade or two to be able to finally close that off. Bushes to the front and additional stone and gold a little bit outside of his town center. A secondary gold, pretty damn close. So not terrible, but again on a hill. Oh my goodness, resources on a hill always super annoying, and things like this, especially if you wanted to plop down a town center. This is a very bad area for your town center, basically, for the gold. And here as well, oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know, I don't think this is elevation. I think it's just different colored sands shifting in the winds. But in any event, we are in feudal. Let's take a quick look at our Saracen base. He's got his gold in the back, he's got his stone off to the side, so a much better base in terms of gold location, and also 3 wood lines, so a decent wall off. Has Hera not seen? Why is he walling south and not southwest? Villager gets caught as she builds a house. Will she make it back? Potentially. Yeah, the town center fire enough here to shoo away Mr. Yo's scouts. But there is a third one en route. If now that third one was there, that villager would not have made it home. And she gets repurposed. Now she is a farmer, not exactly in construction anymore. And Hera begins to wall off his base. His back portion is pretty damn open here to the north, here to the west. Ooh. Mr. Yo catching a few more villagers, getting a bit more damage done to their HP. Nothing really game ending or shattering. And he's not exactly walled off here. So he's getting a good amount of damage done on these villagers. The question is, what will be the follow-up, and will he be able to kill those villagers? He's back here. He's back here. You know, you pick off a third of HP now, a third later, a third, and then all of a sudden you've got a bunch of dead villagers walking around with a little bit of HP, a little bit of HP. And eventually you poke them enough that they will die. That being said, he's here with melee units, especially light cavalry units, which are not going to be very good at this stage of the game, even with their 5 base attack, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah, 5 base attack. Ooh, but now he's walled off here to the south, and Hera traps him in here with a spearman, but Mr. Yo's quick attack does get the first scout of his opponent, so kill count is 1-1. And now he absconds back to the south. No more villagers here. This is pretty walled off. Oh no, never mind. That was a missed opportunity there, I think, for Mr. Yo. Oh, is he gonna get it? The stupid spearman is pushing his own unit into death. Oh my god, that was hilarious. That spearman was basically pushing that villager to his death, and now the villager says, yeah, I mean, I can't mine gold. Are you kidding me? I've got 3 HP. I got to get to the safety of a town center. And he becomes a farmer, as a farmer becomes a gold miner. One thing I've noticed about high elo players is they have absolutely no tunnel vision when it comes to their villagers. They repurpose their villagers. They move them around. They do whatever the hell they need to do. They don't get caught. You know, when I say tunnel vision, I mean, okay, this guy's a farmer and he's going to be a farmer the entire game. If I need to get wood, I'm going to train a villager and send him. No, if you need wood, take that farmer and send him to get wood, is what a pro player would do. And we see that here exactly. Hera moving that incredibly damaged villager, incredibly injured, to the farming community, the more peaceful agrarian life closer to the safety of the town center. As Mr. Yo continues to stream units, spearmen, skirmishers, he is going full on aggression, but his opponent has a pretty sizable army here and a pretty good army. A lot of archers, though. And as always in Feudal Age, positioning. Ooh, a love tap by Romeo and Juliet over here as they both lie dead on the sands. Mr. Yo's army is quickly becoming, I don't want to use the word impotent, but yeah, toothless. And look at that, Hera not thinking that he can make this gate, builds another palisade gate. I mean, skirmishers are not going to kill villagers, right? They're just not. Who got the kill here? Was it the archers? Yeah, it was the archers. Another spearman dies. Hera fantastically defending his base. Like I said, skirmishers generally are not going to kill villagers. They do 1 damage to a villager with loom. 3 attack, 2 armor, which means that they're basically useless. At this point, they're designed to make sure that Hera's gold is delayed. Anytime you see pro players, for example, if Hera had his palisade still up here and his scout was attacking that palisade, generally the idea behind that for Mr. Yo would be, you know what, I know I'm not going to get the villager, but at least Hera's going to have to pull one of his gold miners to repair that palisade because of the risk of me breaking through is too great. And one villager not mining gold is going to delay the gold income. So Hera, at this point, I love double ending the resources, especially a patch this big, and especially now that he's placed the market here, which means there's no town center area available unless he places it right next to the market, which is gonna, I don't know if he's gonna do that. Ooh, Hera, a bit of hesitation, heads north, heads south. I think he was gonna go attack these skirmishers until he saw the spearmen here defending. Now 2 spearmen. Where, oh where, are these 8 archers out of our Saracen? Why are they all in the town center? Are they there just so that these skirmishers have to pass through them? That must be it, right? Will they get even 1? They don't even get 1. I don't know. I feel like these archers could have been better used. Well, you'll lose 1 or 2 of them against these skirmishers, but with enough scouts, you're pretty good. Both players heading up to Castle Age. A lot of aggression so far out of Mr. Yo, which I am loving. Generally more of a, in the game, recently in the games that I've seen and casted, more of a defensive player. Like, you know, I like to call him the king of holds. But this time he's not holding. He is forcing Hera to hold here. Hera, 7 fewer villagers, but he is in Castle Age first and immediately goes for crossbows with Bodkin. By the way, let's take a look at that. +3 attack bonus against buildings. Makes these guys take down houses and palisades pretty freaking fast. And Hera here, confident that he can hold this gold line, has sent his crossbows across the map. I shouldn't say his crossbows. Now they're crossbows. His archer units across the map. Because the game plan is and always was to start pumping out Saracen knights to take out this Feudal Age army. And now look at how quickly this house is going to fall, already almost at 100 HP down. When's the last time we saw crossbows take down houses that freaking fast? It looks like the spearmen are doing some pretty damn good work here. Mr. Yo's army getting a good amount of damage done. Now they're all dead meat, but getting a whole bunch of cavalry units is not bad at all. But they've overstayed their welcome, and knights are not going to suffer very much at the hands of a few skirmishers. Mr. Yo now also hits castle emergency wall up here to the back. So he's done what I thought he would do with his base a little bit later than usual. I guess so focused was he on aggressing. Are they going to see the knights? Yeah, they see the knights. They spring into action. Unfortunately for them. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. If Hera notices, he's just going to turn around and kill these guys. Oh, now they're going to attack the crossbow. This crossbow is going to make it to the battlefield, but okay, maybe he's not even going to make it to the battlefield. I was going to say, but he's going to be pretty dead. Oh. And now Monsieur says, okay, I'm just going to very quietly and cautiously tiptoe to the other side of the map. Oh, but Hera catches wind. Now Knight's not exactly with the greatest line of sight. So Hera runs right by this skirmisher who is going to run straight for this crossbow. Ooh, last minute move there. Oh my god, how many more volleys will it take? And here we go, the knights from our Goth are out, but now we're mixing in camels with the Saracens, which should come with 125 HP now. I said this in the last Saracen game about a week ago. They are to the camel what the Franks are to the Nightline units, and with bloodlines, I mean, Hera's missing bloodlines at the moment, uncharacteristic. I guess he's just going full on units. He's going quantity over quality. He's caught up in villager count. He's building a second town center, and he now has more army than his opponent after squashing those skirmishers over here. But I said this last game, with bloodlines, 145 HP for these camel units is just absolutely ridiculous. In Castle Age, 145 for a non-unique unit is just absolutely bonkers. How can a cavalry civilization, or how can any cavalry units period compete with that? These guys come with a 9 attack bonus against cavalry, 145 HP, and then +2/+2 armor. Now, I guess their base armor of 0 is quite shitty compared to the 2 of their opponent, but it's not really the armor that's relevant with the camel. It's all those attack bonuses, in particular the cavalry one. Look at Hera trying to lure these Gothic knights, but the Gothic knights know a little bit better. There's a monk out already. Both players investing in armor upgrades at the moment. It looks like our Goth, though, with the +1/+2 very soon to the 0/+1 of his opponent. So these knights are going to pack a punch, unfortunately for them. These camels are going to pretty much slice and dice them. And a second town center goes up for Mysterio right as the engagement happens here in the center of the map. The camels are going to slaughter these knights, especially with crossbows on the high ground to back it up. I mean, I say that, but so far it looks like 1 knight for 1 camel and 2 crossbows. But let's take a look at their HP. Oh, they are down significantly in their HP. And what about the camels? Also pretty damn bruised and battered. And now he gets bloodlines, so now 145 HP. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head what other Castle Age unit, not including Siege, has 145 HP in Castle Age. I'm trying to think. There might be 1 or 2 units that I'm not really thinking of at the moment, but it's a pretty damn high amount of HP, especially when you're going up against knights. Mr. Yo, our Goth, remember, using castles, so his infantry is now 30% cheaper. Might want to train a few pikemen. Not exactly the Ethiopians that get the pikeman upgrade for free, so he's going to have to pay. He's going to have to fork out about 300 resources to get it. Where are these knights going? Oh my god, there was a gap! Oh, the hills! The hills are alive with the sounds of freaking gaps all the time. It happens to everybody. It doesn't matter what your elo is, if it's 800 or 2800, there is always an annoying gap when there's elevation. One of the awesome, fun things about Age of Empires that I hope never, ever goes away. It's a great equalizer. You know, when things like this happen to a player, the best player in the world and based in elo, as his knights now get shooed away. Another contingent of knights. Looks like they picked off a monk here to the front, but they're being chased by a whole bunch of camels. Army counts are very high. Our Saracen leading in both army and civilian population. But again, these knights +1 attack, +2 armor, but the camels are now +1/+1 themselves. Ooh, more villagers dying. Our Goth has killed 11 villagers so far. Every time there's a battle and then there's like a hawk, or what is this, a vulture, it looks like, flying overhead, it always reminds me of the opening of that atrocious movie Alexander with Colin Farrell, where he played Alexander the Great. I've never seen a movie with such an amazing supporting cast and such a bad lead actor. No disrespect to Colin whatever, but I don't know. Seeing him playing as Alexander is not wasn't very convincing, to say the least. But man, did that movie have an amazing supporting cast, and man, did it have some cool battle scenes. But as I think in the Battle of Gaugamela, he had that eagle flying overhead before he pulled that amazing maneuver that he did in real life to win that battle. By the way, if you haven't read up about what he did in that battle and you are a history nerd or buff, whatever the lingo is these days, definitely look it up. That maneuver, I mean, it's about as amazing as the Battle of Hastings or the Battle of Cannae. Gaugamela is really, really, really a very interesting battle. Ooh, but enough about that. Our speaking of battles and Saracens, the battle at the Horns of Hattin or Hattin was also an amazing battle during the Crusades. We'll keep an eye out on those knights inside the Saracen base for now, though. We've got a castle being dropped, a castle being denied. Ooh, it's at only at 900 HP. There's only 4 villagers here. What the hell was Hera thinking? I mean, it looks like a whole bunch of villagers died, but there's only 4 villagers left. It looks like he's bringing a bunch more here to the right. The knights engage into the camels. The monks die. They are healing who? They're doing what? Okay, they're healing villagers now. Okay, there's pikemen finally mixed into the composition here. But again, these camels, let's take a look at total HP. 3 times the HP. Let's see how long these pikemen can last. They're plus, I want to say 18? What's a pikeman attack against, bonus against camels? I want to say 18. Yeah, look at that. I do know this game. Oh, the Saracen castle is up. It's garrisoned with 12 villagers who are going to thief a bunch of stone. Okay, I don't mind that at all. Now, if he had a bit more gold, I would say start training Mamelukes, but those are pretty damn expensive. I think 85 gold. But they're always fun to watch. And now a camel gets converted. Gets a monk, but dies in the process. Ooh, this is not a fight these camels want to take. What is happening to that mangonel? It kind of derped out there. Now, one good thing here for Mr. Yo is he's under attack very heavily. But these camels are not going to kill villagers. Did they kill a single villager? Yes. Okay, 1 villager is dead. Among all of that action, all of that the entire battle that happened here next to the gold pile, 1 dead villager. Maybe 2, maybe 3, but I think only 1. And that just goes always to my point that camels really just suck at everything except at killing cavalry and catching up to cav archers. Both players getting a good amount of conversions back and forth. These pikemen are now +1 attack. I don't know that attack is really what you want to go up against. Remember, you always have to tailor your upgrades. Something I want to point out more and more. And I do want to put out a video with a few tips and tricks. I don't want to say tricks. A few tips I've noticed watching all these high elo players to maybe help out. I don't know what the hell the point of that was. Maybe you saw the villagers moving forward. Another castle being dropped for a Saracen. But always tailor your upgrades to the unit you're fighting against. So for example, the pikemen here, they don't need an attack upgrade because they deal an 18 HP bonus. So they're relying on their bonus, which means you want to keep them around for as long as possible. Which means, ideally, I think, armor upgrades. Now, if he was facing archer units, then attack upgrades would probably be better, but the pikemen abscond 2 castles, and Mr. Yo, the king of holds, who tried to put on as much aggression as possible in the earlier stages of the game, finds himself, for an umpteenth time in his professional career, oh my god! Beautiful move out of Mr. Yo. He traps these camels. Unfortunately for him, there's not enough pikemen here. There's 1 pikeman. Oh my god, but he's not getting noticed. He's not getting noticed. What the hell is going to happen here? Oh, this is absolutely, that was such an amazing move, but oh man. I don't even want to know what to compare that to, but as I was about to say before that happened, Mr. Yo, the king of holds, finds himself having to hold yet again, and now there's a castle up. So these camels have to get the F out of here. I don't know where this camel thinks he's going, and Hera's already heading up to Imperial. Mr. Yo, quote-unquote, balances his economy, which is just fancy schmancy talk for buying shit, selling shit, and now he's also heading up to Imperial, 1 minute and 20 seconds behind his opponent, who tries to poke in with another knight. 5 kills. This is a veteran knight. So the pikemen, ooh, I love this maneuver by Mr. Yo, by the way. Not chasing with the entire body of pikemen, moving a few to the north, a few to the west. And now these pikemen are going to turn this knight into a knight kebab. And that's why you don't need an attack upgrade. You just really want armor. I think. Let me know in the comments. You agree, disagree. It's always a hotly contested issue, which are upgrades to get. But I think at the end of the day, we can all agree you should tailor it. I shouldn't say we should all agree. That's very presumptuous. Let me know if you agree that you should tailor your upgrades to the unit you're facing against. Mr. Yo is in a bit of trouble here. He's down 14 villagers. He's down 7 army count. He's got a pair of sister castles here, one right next to the other. Looks like one is on high ground, the other not. But Hera's going to pop out a Treb. Of course he is. He's an Imperial. He's a high elo player. Meanwhile, back home, he's just running. He is running like a toddler who learns to run for the first time. A castle, more archery ranges going up. Why the archery ranges? We've got our first Mameluke. I mean, you're building archery ranges against the Goths? Okay. 5 Huskarls being trained. It's got to be for hand cannoneers, right? I can't imagine it's for more crossbows or even arbalest. Maybe arbalests. I don't know. He's very much investing in. Okay, well, chemistry. Brace are not exactly, I don't think, going to affect the hand cannoneers, but will affect his castles. But the chemistry upgrade probably will give him the ability to train hand cannoneers against the Goths. Hand cannoneer is a bit of a double-edged sword against the Goths, because remember, they are technically archer units. So the Huskarl is an infantry unit. So the hand cannoneer comes with an attack bonus against the Huskarl, but the Huskarl comes with a plus 6. Well, yeah, I was going to say plus 10, but that's when it's elite against archer units. In any event, I'm getting very much ahead of myself. We don't see anything happening right now. The Treb is down here. A second Treb pops out. They're going to begin bombarding the monastery first. Interesting. What am I seeing? Why do I think there's 3 Trebs? Yeah, because there is a third Treb down here. Okay. So Hera inserts himself in here. These crossbows are basically dead meat. If the Huskarls will it so, they are not going anywhere. But they have to catch up. Now, look, I don't mind Mamelukes against Huskarls. Huskarls have very low. They have 0 base melee armor, I believe. Yeah. That being said, right now, the Mameluke is not exactly the hardest hitting unit with an 8 base attack. It's more of a, like I said, a cavalry killing unit. Oh, here we go. Okay, I figured it was for these striped pantaloons. Random monk in the middle of the map. Let's take a look at relic count. By the way, Hera hasn't seen the relic right underneath his nose. Mr. Yo hasn't seen this part of the map at all. Okay. So both players not really very focused on relics. It looks like Hera has gotten 3 to the 0 of his opponent. Sorry, I saw this one. My brain said 1. Hussars! Blast Furnace! I mean, Mr. Yo has an opportunity here very, very briefly. I shouldn't say very, very briefly. His army count is ahead. The problem is he's down almost 50 villagers. Yeah, it's a very brief moment. He's got a moment here where he can shine. Otherwise, Hera's economy is just going to absolutely overwhelm him. And I don't know that necessarily 1 Huskarl, 5 Huskarls are going to do it. He's got to focus. He has cleared up the infrastructure. So the King of Holds earns his name yet again as he clears up 2 big fat Saracen castles that were staring him right in the face. And now he begins the Mr. Yo Hydra style attack. Multiple prongs, multiple heads. We'll keep an eye on them with picture in picture. I want to see what's happening here in the center. 1 Treb is attacking a house. 1 Treb's attacking a lumber camp. Oh, and here we go. That plus 10 attack bonus against infantry is just going to absolutely shred the Huskarls. Are they at all elite? No. So he went for Blast Furnace before he went for the elite upgrade. So now they are fully upgraded with the exception of the elite. And out come more pikemen. Where are you going? What is our Saracen doing? Hera's been kind of quiet the last few minutes. And if you're ever playing Hera, if you ever find yourself lucky enough to play somebody or Mr. Yo or anybody, and all of a sudden they go very, very quiet. They had 2 castles in your face. Very, very aggressive. Trebs came out, tried to gun down your castles. And all of a sudden, the aggression just kind of stops. Be very, very weary. And send scouts. Send scouting units like these pikemen who all of a sudden discover that there are hussars on their way. Oh, and siege engineers as well. Really? You've got only 3 Trebs. Okay. Siege engineers for Hera. So Mr. Yo does not have siege engineers. Which means that Hera's Trebs do outrange. Now, when I say it doesn't have, I don't think the Goths even get siege engineers. Hand cannoneers, hussars, the same crossbows that have been in this game since the very first moments of it are here. Hera's also raiding to the back. He's found a wood line. Oh no, but Mr. Yo's raiding himself. Unfortunately, look at the HP. They're already down at half of their HP. And there you go. Ah, my goodness. What's the expression I'm thinking of? Pregnant pause. Again, all of a sudden, Hera, who was aggressing against his opponent so much aggression. And look at Hera. Look at this. I love it. Murder holes. Oh my god, we have a pro player getting murder holes because, of course, why the hell wouldn't you get murder holes when the Goths are here with their Imperial Age +6 attack against buildings? And now I see the Archer is +10, which means these guys are elite. But yeah, whenever your opponent is aggressing, and then all of a sudden just stops and there's a silence, a tumbleweed floats by your screen, that is a pregnant pause. You need to understand that your opponent is cooking up something. He's a stirring the pot. He's getting them stables. And all of a sudden, 34 Hussars. He's already pop capped at 200, it looked like a second ago. And Mr. Yo was just stuck on pikemen. I mean, yeah. Could have played it a bit more closer to his chest or vest, whatever the expression is, I guess. But not against Siege Engineer Trebs. I don't know. In any event, our Goth did send out feelers, and the pikemen here did see. Where were they? I think they were here. The pikemen did see that there was a Hussar transition. The problem for Mr. Yo is he's down 43 villagers. He's looking at that score and he's saying, wait a second, how the hell am I 30% down in the score? I haven't seen anything that my opponent is doing. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of Hussars upgrades. Okay, not exactly the best upgrades on these Hussars. Not even Blast Furnace. Not even Iron Casting, I mean. But all of a sudden, a bunch of Hussars show up to the side of your base, while at the same time, Hand Cannoneers show up. And your infantry is all of a sudden either too slow to react or too dead to react. I mean, this is just a graveyard of Gothic infantry. And our Goth just gets out, what's the word I'm looking for? My English all of a sudden is absolute dog shit. And look at this, hilarious. Now Mysterio gets the relic at the 50-minute mark of the game. I don't want to say, I'm not going to say outplays. I'm looking for the word that he got to something faster. Outruns? Let's go with outruns our Goth. Our Saracen outran our Goths. Got to Imperial, only a minute 20 seconds. That doesn't really explain how he snowballed completely out of control here. But yeah, there was just an absolute, all's quiet here on the eastern front of the Gothic base. And Mr. Yo did send out feelers. And like I said, he had an opportunity there where he was still down a huge number of villagers, like 50 villagers, but he did have a slight lead in army count. But when you're down that much, when your economy is that much smaller than your opponents, it really does put a clock on you. And whatever gains you make, you have to understand, you have to build up your economy. You have to take advantage of those gains. And Mr. Yo just, I think, threw away a whole bunch of pikemen, a whole bunch of Huskarls here in Hera's base. And Hera, by the way, look at his base. Just oriented in one direction and one direction only, straight at his opponent. Let's take a look at the stats. Pikemen 69, LOL, 41 crossbows. I'm surprised it's 41 crossbows. Okay. PKPM. Okay. About 15 minutes into the game. PKPM a few minutes ago at the 44-minute mark of the game. A Hera with his usual 200 to 300. I am surprised by this. I am really surprised by this. I mean, Relic Gold is cool. Anything to 0 is cool. He got all 4 resources, but less than 20% bigger economy when he had, at one point, what was it, almost 50 villagers more than his opponent? I guess that lead just wasn't that big right up until the end here, the gap between the lines. So let's take a look. A little bit more wood, about 5,000, 4,600 more food, a tiny bit more gold. Without the relics, they'd basically be equal. But yeah, look at that, about 3 castles worth extra stone. Ooh, conversions are going to be fun. Saracens, 17 conversions out of an army total of 175. 10% of the Goth army joined the Saracen cause. 6 out of 139 is less than 5% of the Saracen army joined the Goth cause. So double, more than double percentage-wise of the conversions. And ultimately, the kill count, villager, not really the difference maker here in kill count. But look at that. Look at that, about 56 more kills on the whole for our Saracen, who just, again, takes a breather, calmly, collectively, repels a few attacks out of our Goth, plops down a whole bunch of stables, and then starts raiding, and doing to Mr. Yo what Mr. Yo loves to do to other people, which is just pulling them apart like a piece of string cheese. I should call it the string cheese method instead of the Hydra method. But in any event, how many Trebs are left? Only 1 out of 3 Trebs are left. The Hussars are here. The infantry is absolutely at a loss. They cannot do anything, not with hand cannoneers mixed into here. 15 kills for 16 units that literally just popped out is pretty good. And the biggest news story of all, ladies and gentlemen, extra, we have a pro player getting murder holes. And that is just absolutely fantastic. And that alone is the reason that Hera won this game. In any event, what an absolute fun game. A lot of aggression out of Mr. Yo in the beginning, and then a lot of defense out of Mr. Yo once Hera managed to push him back. Those knights here getting those skirmishers really handicap Mr. Yo significantly. If he brought those skirmishers back home, he could have dealt perhaps with the crossbows a little bit better, which would have given him a bit more time to get his economy up. And ultimately, blah, blah, blah. Everything in hindsight is 2020. At the end of the day, we know one thing and one thing only. It is that Hera takes the W, but GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.